right now we're going to focus on our brewing methods. So you've probably heard of the pour-over brewer, but I'll show you what one looks like right here. This is our gold single cup pour-over brewer that's made of stainless steel and has a little gold titanium finish to it. And it keeps you from being able to having to use paper filters, and you can make one simple cup. So if you have competition in your household for the coffee maker, whichever one you use with a coffee drinker, you can make 1 cup of Ticino super fast using this method. This is your favorite. Why don't you tell them about it?
This is my favorite. This one we lovingly refer to as kitchen countertop eye candy. I like to make this with my partner at home, but as you can see, it's big enough so you can actually share Ticino with the whole family. Kids love Ticino. It's a healthy drink that they don't even know they're drinking all the nutrients. So the whole family can enjoy it, and this one's big enough to fit a couple cups. How many cups fit in that one?
You can get 3 good-sized mugs out of this one.
Perfect.
This also comes with a stainless steel filter. So again, no need to cut down trees to make your morning cup of coffee or Ticino in the morning if you use these permanent pour-over filters. And then, last but not least, is tried and true. I use this one all the time. This is the French press. The French press, you can probably see, has a fine mesh strainer. And basically, what I say a French press is a teapot with a strainer, because you'll see in a second, it basically works just like a teapot for loose leaf tea. Only in this case, we're going to do it with Ticino. So we're going to use Ticino's all-purpose grind today, and we decided to make our newest flavor, reishi eleuthero, because it's made with the reishi mushroom, and it has a real coffee-like taste. Ticino's a blend of herbs, grains, fruits, roots, seeds, all kinds of different ingredients. We put a couple of them out here for you to see today. This is carob, and we also have some ramon seeds, which I should talk about, but we got to get on with the brewing. They're a really unique ingredient with a great story behind them. So I'm going to simply cut off the top of our Ticino bag. I want to show you 2 spoons. So, you know, the classic thing is you want to get the right amount for a cup in here. This cup is about 10 ounces as well. And what we say for a 10-ounce cup of Ticino, but it's also true for coffee, you want a rounded tablespoon, 1 for Ticino. If this were coffee, you'd be using 2. So you don't use as much of Ticino as you do of coffee. So I'm going to put 1 in here because this is our 1 cup. I'm going to put in 3 in here. Can you take the top of that guy off?
Sure.
And I'm going to put in 2 because this cup holds about 2 10-ounce cups in there. All right.
Well, why don't we use as much Ticino as we would with coffee?
So coffee is fluffier than Ticino, for one, and there's just this way that Ticino, works better at 1 tablespoon than 2 tablespoons.
Probably more flavor.
Yeah, but coffee is fluffier, so it has it's not as dense as Ticino. Let's start with this one, because when you pour into a French press, you're simply pouring the water in, but you want it to sit for 3 minutes before it's ready to drink. And so it's as simple as this. You're going to pour it into your French press. You're going to put the top on.
Oh, it looks yummy already.
And you're going to let it sit without pushing the plunger down for 3 minutes until it's ready. That can't be simpler, right? For the pot of the pour-over pot, how do you do it? Do you have a special way you like to do it?
Well, I actually just figured out I thought I was doing it wrong the other day because I watched a really long, drawn-out video of this meticulous measuring and pouring and blooming and all of these things. But I typically just pour, and tell me if I'm wrong, I typically just pour and let it fluff up a little bit, and then I pour my rest. How am I supposed to do it?
That's exactly how you're supposed to do it. So I've seen those videos too, and those are like coffee people,
Yeah.
And they're measuring and they're being so serious, and then they're saying you do it like this, and then you do that, and you let it bloom for this long, you do that. I'm sorry. I live in a fast-paced world. I don't have time for
schedule.
It's easier than that. And you can still make it just like a barista. So the first thing I do is I pour right around to get it all wet. And I do let it sit for a little while as the grounds sort of go down inside, and you can see it's brewing or dripping through. And then when it sort of drips through the first one.
I can smell it already. It smells so good.
Then I do start to pour around the edges. Make sure it all goes down. And we just keep letting it pour a little bit like that. One of these videos I watched, it had, 6 times around like this.
Yes.
5 times back like that.
Counterclockwise.
Clockwise. I was like, really?
It was intense. I was like, okay, I can't do that. I mean, I'm just right on time as is.
Those are the coffee people. You know how they are. The coffee people get really, really serious about stuff.
If you have time to do that, good for you. But I like this.
I'm going to get this one started too. So this is your simple 1-cup brewer. Again, you pour it in a little bit, get it all wet. Let it go down. As it goes down, the grinds will sort of cake, or whatever you want to say, along the side. And that's when you go back in on the next pour, and you just pour around the edge to get the grinds down. It's really, really simple. And it really is common sense when you look at it. And it's pretty obvious. Oh, yeah, the grinds are on the side. I think I'll pour around and get them down.
I'm happy to find out that I have actually been doing it right.
You like the taste, right?
Yes, yes.
You know, that's another important thing. Everybody drinks Ticino at the strength that they like. And it's the same thing for coffee, of course. So what you want to be sure of is that you try different strengths. And actually, I now drink Ticino at different strengths depending on my mood. I can drink it more tea-like and make it more watery, or more coffee-like and make it more intense, or more espresso-like and make it really intense, right? So it depends on my mood.
Yep, that makes sense. When I'm drinking Ticino in the morning to replace my coffee, I do tend to make a stronger brew so it's more coffee-like. But then in the afternoons at the office, I just run for the tea bag, which is a lighter brew.
Exactly. So you can see how easy this is to brew. You're going to have a pot or a cup or a French press pot. If it were 3 minutes right now, we'd push that down and we'd all be ready to pour. Something super important to know about the difference between brewing in a French press and brewing in a pour-over brewer, or any kind of drip coffee brewer for that matter, is that there's a difference in the taste. And the difference comes from the fact that Ticino or coffee has been sitting in the water for 3 minutes while it's brewing.
That makes
Whereas
sense.
here, with the the water going through the product so quickly, right, what happens is sweetness gets extracted here and more bitters in the French press. So if you want a sweeter cup, now, I don't know if this is true for coffee exactly, because with Ticino we have the dates and figs in some of our flavors that make it a little sweeter. But we also have the carob. You know, these carob pods are actually naturally sweet as well.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a little more sweetness to Ticino, even in some of our flavors that aren't sweet. But you'll get a little sweeter brew out of a pour-over brewer than you will out of a French press. You'll get more bitters. So depending on how you like it, it's, you know, the perfect way to drink it or brew it, depending on what you wanted out of the taste.
Exactly. That's a good tip. And again, it makes more sense about why that one's my favorite. I have a sweet tooth.
I do.